So I'm going to bring up my first speaker, my first guest, Robert LaFrance's. So I was raised in Canada. I can't my my 9 years. Notre Dame. So I met Robert, like I said, about a week and a half ago, and I actually found LegalShield, which Robert represents. He does a lot more than that, but we started the conversation because he was right there representing LegalShield. I've been a LegalShield member since probably October, November of last year. And the reason why is because the cost of hiring an attorney is nuts. And I just spent $12,000 on my divorce attorney who completely screwed me over. She did and she didn't. She did not do her job compared to my husband, who was just a bulldog. But in the end, karma is paying for it. It's wonderful. But there's a very long legal story now that has arisen where my husband has liens on my house in his name that I can't get removed to take ownership of said house per the legal agreement of my divorce. He's attributing that because of $17,000 of a lien placed for not paying credit card insurance and debt. And so I'm like, hiring an attorney to go to court is going to cost me another 2, 3, 4 grand to get a retainer, and I just can't wrap my head around that right now because I'm, that real estate attorney to get help. So trust me, I've contacted. There's nothing I don't know about the situation. I've been doing it like for over a year. So I got this paperwork and I'm like legally looking at it. So I can't afford an attorney. So I remember LegalShield from a while ago, and years and years and years ago, like $30 a month. So I took that $30 a month, and now I have a lawyer in my back pocket. So not only have I used probably over $5,000 of legal advice, services, letters, my will cost me $30. Full will, written. All I have to do is note it. I now have letters written and mailed out to the attorneys that hold the liens, requesting the liens be removed from my house because on his property, which he owns, and there's no liens on his house, but he's free and clear because every month with his $150,000 of equity. So see you later, and right. So I've had 2 letters written for them. I've had real estate paperwork reviewed. I've had elder law paperwork reviewed. Notice of restriction, a motion to dismiss was written, $30 a month. So little did I know that my $30 a month is to protect me and my family, protect my kids as well. So if there's any kind of issues with my children, my 19-year-old who is a legal adult now, who I know is going to come at some point, we now have this service that I can come to. So for me, it's a peace of mind for $30 a month. That is literally 5 Starbucks, one a week that you give up to financially and legally, just even if it's sounding board for advice. So you can use LegalShield for even divorce because they have these attorneys at hand, right? So when we were talking about it, I was like, I'm in love with LegalShield. I think it's wonderful, especially for a single woman. Anybody in business, you can actually do a business fighter. You can do like there's a whole plethora of stuff that I'm learning now that I'm like working and bringing Robert into the Kirby Flipper side of stuff. Review my lease. I mentioned exactly. But these millennials who are going into things like that, they don't know what they don't know, right? And here's $30 a month, a small investment for a pretty powerful asset. So I desperately wanted Robert to be a part of what I'm doing and that movement. Also, LegalShield offers a side hustle, and it's a small investment to go ahead and get involved. So this is something somebody can do just by talking and referring it out. Be like, hey guys, this is how much it cost me, but you know what? It's like you referring it up to you. Guess what? We can, make some money on the side and not really have to do a lot with this something you share, something you believe in. So I wanted to offer both a solution and the opportunity in one, which is LegalShield and Robert LaFrance's.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Can we give Tracy Stern a round of applause for that expertise that she shared earlier? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. What was your question?
Like Jim's the owner of LegalShield.
The CEO?
Yeah.
The CEO is a different CEO now. Jim is no longer.
He's not.
And then Mr. Stone Cipher has passed away, the creator of LegalShield.
What's Jim's last name?
I don't know Jim. I don't know of a Jim. We'll think about that. Maybe we can. I don't know that answer now, but I can find out afterwards and figure out what you're looking for.
It was a wonderful guy who contributed to a lot of really great charities. Really nice.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Cool. Well, so my name is Robert LaFrance. I'm a former Navy diver turned veteran mentor. Okay. I was in the Navy and I started investing in JVs, lending money, and buying my first home with the VA home loan. All right. I was surrounded by people who understood rental property, buying rentals every time they relocated, and how that can set us up for retirement or separation by a small rental portfolio. And so that's how I got involved with what I'm doing now. When I got out of the Navy, because I was tired of living within the monster and the infrastructure of the military, I was ready to do my own thing, live freedom, create my own schedule, and have uncapped potential. So I became a real estate agent. All right. I got out of the Navy in September. My daughter was born in December, so I couldn't go to film school anymore. I decided no longer to go to film school and stay at home and become a real estate agent and still do the real estate thing. All right. Now, after becoming a real estate agent, I realized that the schedule wasn't really allowing me to be home at nights and weekends, because when do people need to see properties? The evenings and the weekends, okay? And so being able to help more than just a military relocation home buyer, who's going to buy one home, stay there for, 3 years or the average of 7 before they have to upsize or downsize or relocate, how can I close more deals? And so someone mentored me and told me, you need to start hanging out with the local real estate investor associations, because those are the people who are buying and closing deals on a regular basis and are knowing how to make money within it versus the family. All right. And because I wanted to build a portfolio of real estate, I needed to do more numbers than just a person moving from Hawaii to Virginia or from Virginia to Hawaii, and help them set up that. And so that's really rewarding. I had success doing that, but I really wanted to do more and develop partnerships with people who are doing the thing. And so I started hanging out with the local real estate association. And as my real estate career was breaking 6 figures, my marriage started to go downhill. And so from there, I couldn't really focus on my real estate agent career anymore, and I had to essentially become a stay-at-home attorney. And then as COVID was happening, it was all kind of like a huge, hard time that I no longer define myself as, but it's a period that really allowed me to focus and learn the intricacies of what we don't know and what we have access to, and how to still be there for my daughter, protect my parental rights, as well as still build a real estate portfolio under COVID quarantine, learning the ins and outs of laws, reading laws, and learning how to leverage my own intelligence and resourcefulness, and where to hire an expert. All right, we were talking earlier about I'm not ready to learn insurance yet. Imagine trying to maintain rentals, do some consulting work, and then also learn Connecticut family law while while I'm dealing with parental law stuff, missing my kid. So there's like a lot of things. I was actually able to represent myself twice in 2 custody trials and maintain the same rights that I had from the very beginning. All right, and but I'm not going to be talking just about LegalShield, because what I do is help veterans build passive income through our VA resources, investing in cash flowing real estate or even single family real estate. I have a checklist that is for free that I give people to empower the buyers. I think the buyers and the sellers are the most powerful position in the real estate game, because of the role of being an ignorant expert. We get to come in and say, I want this or I need that done. And then we have the team of professionals, the real estate agents, the attorneys, the home inspectors, the contractors, anybody involved in the real estate purchase throughout that due diligence period. We can rely on them and have them work for us while we're going on deployment, while we're handling law stuff, or whatever passions that we're trying to pursue. Okay. And so what I've learned through this 9-step process, essentially, of buying and refinancing real estate for an average of 6-figure returns if you do it correctly, in as little as 270 days with the VA home loan. VA home loan, you can buy a 4-unit multifamily property, and then if there's another veteran that co-signs with you, you can add 2 additional units to that, totaling 6 units, which then you're no longer in the residential multifamily side, you're in the commercial residential side, which changes the due diligence requirements of closing on those properties. All right. And so there's different variations that we learn from the loan and the mortgage side, and then also the real estate law side. And that's what I try to do, is I learn and share strategies for an impact so veterans can maintain purpose, camaraderie, and stability upon separating, whether it's 5 years or 35 years. All right. So that's my mission. And so because I'm no longer a real estate agent, I decided to give that up. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze for me anymore. My last buyer client, showing her properties, teaching her how to be an investor, getting 3 properties under contract, and then still have her tell me that she's going to go with someone else. The gas, the lunches, the energy, it's just too much for me. And so I've kind of realized that no matter what kind of business we're starting, whether it's investing in real estate, buying our family home, or trying to start a t-shirt business, we have an idea. We're going to need upfront cash. We're going to need systems, and we're going to need time and the energy to put into creating that idea for the results that we want. All right, and that formula is good for successful results and also poor results. If we have the wrong idea or the wrong systems or not enough cash, and we do that for enough time, well, then we're going to create a lifestyle and experience a life that we're not happy living, or the vice versa. So if we come in empowered with these ideas and understand that there's risk in everything that we're doing, and come out with a system to reduce and mitigate those risks, and have the professionals who know how to work with contractors or understand the person actually doing the work isn't going to be responsible. As a real estate agent, I was helping a disabled veteran move from New York to Norfolk. And the day of closing, I do the walkthrough inspection, and there's water dripping from the bathroom into the kitchen. And so I call the agent, I speak to the contractor. There's an attitude all of a sudden, and it's like, what do you want me to tell my buyer of 5 children that, that's okay? We need someone to come in here and fix it now. Turns out, I left the closing table. I meet the plumber guy at the property. I'm like, you're not the guy I just spoke on the phone with. He's like, oh, well, I'm his subcontractor. So back to what you were saying earlier about just the overall process. There's some things that we can't control and we shouldn't be able to control, but we need to understand what we're getting into, because I used to have this philosophy of, oh, well, I'm a Navy diver. I'm going to reduce those risks. I'm going to be able to handle all that stuff. I used to do all these things. But when it comes down to putting up that money and then still having very limited control and still getting a poor result, is that something that's going to prolong or perpetuate positive success, or is that going to be an energy sucker for the next 5 years until I can get it because I got bad tenants, or I had a bad work done, or my insurance isn't covering it? Not my home, my home insurance for my last single family that I just sold, they didn't cover any of the things that I needed cover, and they're a reputable insurance company. And so my property, I became a distressed seller. I had deferred maintenance because of all this life going on, and just slowly stealing from the mountain of marbles that I was building. And that's just my life journey. Sometimes we can't avoid that. And so if we can go in empowered with all these things and know, hey, tenants and toilets are going to be an issue. How do we handle that? We make sure that we're screening the good tenants and we're not doing favors. We have all the things in place. Yeah. And so it's talking about energy and systems and even having property management or the right contractors. Right. But and so do we want to be a landlord owner involved in it, or do we want to be able to go on vacations or live a lifestyle? Like, I'm a wind tunnel instructor at I Fly Virginia Beach. I love flying all day and sharing that dream of flight with both first time flyers and then also competitive athletes. And so that's where I like to be. And dealing with my tenant saying, I don't know how a doll head got flushed down my toilet when they were trying to sneakily sublease rooms from the rental and try to get one over me, and now I have channeling on my sewage line from the house to the main. And it's just like, I tried to get contractors to do work for the last 8 months. They gave me a quote, won't do the job. Holidays are around, aren't answering the calls. Hey, are we still ready to move forward? Then they're not wanting to do the work. They get to pick and choose what work they want to do. And so despite my responsibility and project management skills, I became a distressed seller where I had to subject to my house. Fortunately, I know how to subject to my house. I've purchased a subject to before, existing financing with attorneys, with all legally and stuff like that. And so knowledge is power. We don't know what we don't know, but having the resources and the time and the experience allows us to become successful. All right. And so that's a little bit of my story about how I got into real estate and where I'm going now in the future, is being there for the active duty military who are interested in investing in real estate for that cash flow and that portfolio, because they're doing it anyway. They're relocating every few years. They're using the VA home loan. VA home loan is one of the most powerful loan products out there, equivalent to just bringing up cash. The only thing that a veteran needs to bring is the earnest money deposit and the inspections versus some type of percentage down. All right, so that's an easier, that's not a barrier to entry. That reduces the barrier of entry of buying real estate. Now, most people in real estate have their systems in place. They have their attorney, they have their own home inspectors. But what about the gaps that, oh, well, my cousin's a real estate attorney. Well, what about when you start going through a divorce and that divorce goes from Virginia Beach to Connecticut? Can your real estate attorney help you with that? He can provide some guidance, but not really. Okay. Or in a positive sense, okay, well, you successfully helped your client close on this property with your connections existing, but now they're getting transferred to another place. How can you still stay front of mind in that closing folder and still be of service and increase your brand and recognition as they travel around the country? And that's how I saw LegalShield fit into my real estate agent business up until I needed to focus on my divorce and custody issues. And so I was still able to be there for my clients as they relocated, not knowing a closing attorney, and then still be empowered with a checklist when they are coming across a new real estate agent referral in a foreign area, just having the tools to make a decision for themselves. So not to discredit any reputable people and their business relationships, but we all just discussed experiences where we want to gain more control and knowledge so we can be more empowered when we go in. And we only have so much time and energy in between serving the country or being there for our family or whatever businesses or projects flips that we have. And so that's where the LegalShield membership really fills in the gaps. And because of my use of it, I, if someone is knowledgeable and resourceful, this is a very powerful tool. So when I went from Virginia Beach to Connecticut, my daughter's very important to me, and I've designed my life around being there for the schedule that we have, no matter where her mother gets stationed. All right, so moving to Connecticut, creatively financing the house, creatively getting employment, doing some consulting work, and then learning the precedences and court law to represent myself because I didn't have the funds to hire an attorney for the retainer. I already spent all that in Virginia. And so in addition to the retainer costs, we get a member discount. So anytime we have to hire an attorney at like with a retainer like that, we get a 25% discount. So instead of $300 an hour, you get discounted and then you get that. All right. But I didn't even have that anymore. I sold my motorcycle. I sold all this stuff so I could go up to Connecticut, and I'm dealing with police coming to my house, police coming to my workplace, and then I'm also going to court. And so I'm also coming from a real estate agent and investor background. I know how to read and create contracts. I know how to stand up for myself and pursue the thing. And so what I was doing was, as I was trying to do my real estate agent thing in Connecticut and coming from a place of scarcity, I was also creating contracts, working with my law firm in Connecticut, getting unlimited counsel, uploading my Virginia documents, getting, included counsel on my paperwork and how to proceed without additional costs. And then I could take that knowledge and information, update my documents, scan it up for review again, and then go represent myself in court and be able to defend myself in my argument against the judge. And being a father in the courtroom in this particular scenario in family law is a very challenging environment to be on multiple levels. So that's kind of how I want to give back. And so for me to argue that position without having unlimited resources to do so, other than my time and energy, is a very powerful thing. And so I come from a place of really letting people know that despite your connections and existing business structure, I feel we are doing our business a disservice by not filling these gaps for our own business, our own workforce, and then our clients and our families moving forward. And that's how I feel. And so I have a checklist here. It's 9 steps. It's essentially talking about, because we're in a real estate setting, curvy flipper, all right, how do we we were talking about contracts, how do we prepare for the contracts all across the board? Well, we can ask somebody in a state that we don't know. I'm talking about LegalShield. And how we write these contracts are very important, and you don't know that unless you're attending courses. The real estate attorneys or attorneys only have so much information for law, and so you really have to rely on people like Tracy and her experience to word those contracts and understand even the line items of the invoices. All right. Okay, I'll give you a bonus if you complete this by this step or this date, or do you remember to put trash removal on there? Are they going to be cleaning up the construction costs? And so that's why these events and resources and systems are so important, to just reduce that risk, because you really can avoid someone doing a poor job with the water destroying the movie theater like you described earlier. There's only so much we can do, and there's only so much that we want to be doing. All right. So I have a list here of common things that I've used the service for, that other people use the service for. We offer these as a workforce employee benefit. And so for those who have employees, this allows people to stay at work longer and not have to go to court for that speeding ticket. I highlighted some things: adoption, divorce, postnuptial, prenuptial agreements, name changes, home contractor disputes, eviction and tenant issues, foreclosure, home equity lines, purchase and sale of a home, financial disputes, which are all things as a buyer, as a real estate investor, I'm dealing with as I'm negotiating with a distressed seller, because I don't pay retail on perfect properties. I'm buying properties from people who are ready to upscale or going through death, divorce, and taxes and trust issues. Right. And so my perspective is to come from a place of integrity and not rob these people, but these are issues that I know I'm going to be dealing with, especially in the multifamily space, where I'm not just dealing with one family, but 5, 10, 20 families, and then larger equipments and zoning issues. And like the apartment that I'm currently living in now at the beach, there's a lot of zoning and code violations right now. And if I wasn't boots on the ground, if I wasn't aware that the tenants in my building are actually intelligent people and know how to contact the town and read laws and hold the owner accountable, how can I better serve my customers, which are the tenants? I don't want to inherit a property that I'm not aware of code violations and then have the tenants want to hang me because I'm the new owner. And so financial, bankruptcy, distressed sellers contracts, promissory notes. In private lending, when the military service, we get SRBs, we get good cash from tax-free deployment areas, or as a real estate investor, we refinance that property. We don't pay taxes on that. What can we do with that lump sum of cash that we're going to be getting from 270 days or the next year? Well, we can lend that to our partners or to our other companies and invest that in real estate as a private money lender. And so promissory notes are one of the ways that we do that. Same thing with rental agreements. Being a veteran, this helps us with veteran benefit matters, not just real estate, but unfortunately, there's some predatory practices. There's predatory practices, and veterans are paying more than they need to file initial claims or go from there. And so I can actually share this with you down the road, as well as this checklist. The checklist is free if you go to www.massivereturnschecklist.com. Just put in your email, and then you can use it for your own business, share it with other people so they know how to hold and collaborate with people in a positive way down the road. All right. My name is Robert LaFrance. I think that the rising tide lifts all ships, so help me help you help your friends. Thank you.